All right, everybody, let's start today's class. And today's class is RC Communication in English class. This is week 12, and this is for the week when you don't have a speaking test. So the idea is when you have the speaking test, that's all you have to do. But if you would like to do this class early and finish it early, no problem. You can do this whenever you want. But you have 2 weeks to make sure that you hand it in. So you need to submit your worksheets. Now, because the class needs to be 50 minutes, I've added in some extra material. So it is a little bit longer than usual, but I've given you some listening exercises, I've given you some other things to do, so hopefully it's not going to be super no jam, and hopefully you're going to have some fun today. So everybody, just try your best. Take a break when you need to. I've made a break in class, but it doesn't matter too much. Just try your best. This is the most important thing this semester. Just do your best. So if you don't try, you'll never know. So just try. When I say pause me now, write your answers on your worksheet or type it. Just do as much as you can. That's the most important thing. So let's move along. Okay, so the first part of today's class is all about looking back. And that's called reminiscing. When you look back on something, you reminisce. And you think like, oh, what happened? Oh, that was a great time. Or do you remember, 2016? When I was in middle school, oh, it was so amazing. Oh, wow, it was all so great. This is reminiscing, looking back on something, thinking about like the good times, sometimes looking back in a bad way, but usually we reminisce about good things. Now, I've got a couple of things for you to do. First of all, I want you to look at the picture on page 117. And for 10 seconds, just look at the picture. Now, on your worksheet, I've given you a space. And I just want you to try to write down some key details that you can remember about that picture. So here is the picture. Just like here. So here is the picture. Have a look at the picture for 10 seconds and then just try to use your memory. So pause me now. And then you've written down some things on your worksheet. So on your worksheet, you can see here, just write down things that you can remember about that picture. Now underneath, I just want you to answer a couple of questions. Do you have a good memory? Just yes or no answer. Can you remember names, dates, and faces? How easily do you remember facts, stories, and appointments? Okay? So you've written those answers down. My memory's okay, so I can remember, especially faces, I'm good. Names comes to me eventually. Dates, I'm okay sometimes. All right, next one. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to look around your bedroom, or look on your smartphone, or look in your lounge or your living room, anywhere in your house. And I want you to find a special childhood photo that you have. And I want you just to tell me the story behind it. Now, the idea is just to tell me a little detail, not a lot, just a little bit. So on your worksheet, I want you to try to tell me just the story behind it and any of the details that you can remember. Now, you can draw the picture, you can upload a picture, you can take a picture with, like with snow or something and just upload it in here. But I want you just to write down a few sentences about what was the story behind it, but just from what you can remember. Now, the textbook today is all about senses, like sight, looking at something, smell of something, the taste of something, the touch, the feel of something. So there's many different senses. So try to think of the senses that you can associate, you can put with that picture. So just tell me a bit about the story and then try to tell me anything that you can remember about, like, the details, like, you touched the grass and it was so soft. Or you ate some food and it was delicious. Just try to think of like a sense that you can remember from that picture. So pause me now. And then let's go on. So you've done that part. Now we're going to do page 118. Page 118 is about the language. So what I'd like you to do first of all is to read the stories. Read the stories and match them together with the pictures. So you've got 3 pictures. 3 text boxes, just read them and put them together. So pause me now, and you've got it, right? So the first ones, let's go through the answers. You have picture A. This is Sonia, and it's talking about her relationship with her grandmother. We have picture B. And that's Gary's story, and that's his memories of a summer day as a child. And then we have C, which is Alex listening to music with his grandfather. So those stories, you've matched them together. You're geniuses. I know you got this right. So let's go on to B. B says, which of the senses, touch, smell, taste, sound, or sight, do the people mention? What do they talk about exactly? Now there are a couple of extra answers that aren't here, but you can fill it in, I think. So read it again one more time, and then just make a note of the kind of senses that they talk about in their stories. You can just underline or circle it if you can find it. So pause it. Let's do it. So let's go through it. So first of all, Gary mentions the smell of grass and the feel of the dog's fur. Sonia talks about the smell of spices in the air. She also talks about taste, right? She says tasty icing, licking. So she kind of says about the taste. Alex talks about the smell of the record cabinet, his grandfather's rough hands, and the sound of his voice. So you can see there, he talks about different senses that they had. So hopefully you underlined or mentioned those points. The vocabulary section is talking about the words in there. So the bold words, bold like black, like this color here, my t-shirt, they have some kind of words that are positive or negative, you know, like their senses. We have to think about what are they talking about. So you can see there it says smell, sound, touch, taste, sight. So the words in there, the bold words, you need to put them with the right sense. Then you need to think if they are positive or negative. Then you need to think maybe neutral. Neutral means no bias, no positive or negative meaning. So positive means good meaning, negative is bad meaning, neutral is in the middle. It has no negative or positive way. So read the story one more time, and then I want you to try to put them with the correct senses, and then try to assign it a positive or negative meaning. So pause me now. And let's go through the answer. So, first of all, we have the smell. Fresh, stinky, musty, scented. Sound. Deep, melodic, high-pitched. Touch. Smooth, damp, rough. Taste. Tasty, flavorful. Sight. Bright, colorful. Now the positive and negative and neutral meanings, I've put them all here so you can see. So positive words would be bright, colorful, flavorful, fresh, melodic, scented, smooth, tasty. They have a positive meaning in this text. Negative, stinky, damp, and musty. And in the text we have like a neutral meaning for rough, deep, or high-pitched. But in English, many times people will be like, oh, he's a rough guy. It means they're a fighter, or they're hard working with their hands. So it'd be like, oh, he's really rough, like tough. Not always fighting, but you know, like that kind of meaning. The next one, it says deep. So when we use deep, we usually mean deep to mean that they have many layers, like it's a good thing. Or he's a really deep person. He thinks a lot. He's very, you know, like special person. So we think deep is a good way. High-pitched. High-pitched voice or noise is usually irritating or bad. And in Korea, you can see that there's people who have high-pitched voices, like a singer, like a mosquito, and people like say like bad things or negative things. So high-pitched is usually not the best when we're talking about someone's voice, but sometimes it's needed to be high-pitched. But in this case, sometimes we can have a negative feeling. So hopefully you got those down. Let's move along. Okay, now on your worksheet, I put a couple of questions using those words, and you can see them here. All I want you to do is to write down your answer for them. So first on, what kind of food is stinky to you? Blah, blah, blah is stinky to me. Which scented perfume do you like? Now, honestly, perfume, many people say perfume is for women. Eau de toilette is for men and women. Deodorant is for men and women. So what kind of smell, perfume do you like? So you'd be like, oh, I like my girlfriend's Chanel perfume. Or you'd be like, oh, I like Ferrari eau de toilette. Or you can say, I like da-da-da deodorant. Any of those are fine. It doesn't matter which answer you put down, but just make sure you say what kind of smell you like. Who has the best melodies? Which group or singer has good sounds? Who is the roughest member of your family? Now you can do this two ways. One, like rough, like like you'd be like, my brother, he punches me all the time, he's rough. But I don't mean that way. I mean like, who's the hardest working, the toughest member of your family? So maybe your brother, your sister, your mom likes to play outside all the time or work with their hands. Maybe your brother is an engineer. And you'd be like, oh, he's the roughest because he works with his hands like every day, a tough job. So you could say like that. Who brightens your day? Who makes you smile? Who makes you feel good about yourself? So if they brighten your day, it means they make you happy. So who does that? And the last one, how is your eyesight? Do you like glasses or contact lenses? This is a general question, about sight, because I know that many people wear glasses or contact lenses. So do you like them? Is your eyesight good? Maybe it's perfect. You don't need them. So just tell me about that one. So pause me now. And then let's move along after you've done your work. The grammar in today's chapter on page 119 is just for emphasis. So I chose the easy grammar today. And all you need to do is you just need to look at the sentences and then choose the correct answer. Now, emphasis just means you're giving a strong, yeah, that's my answer. It's emphasis. If I said, hi, there's no real emphasis. I'm like, hi, yeah, hey. It doesn't necessarily mean high tension, but the idea is we're giving emphasis to something. So when we look at this, there's going to be two sentences, and it will give you a hint. So number one, what I remember most about my childhood is my pet dog Milo. Number two, the thing I liked most was licking the tasty icing off my fingers. Those are the examples, and I want you to go through 1, 2, and 3 of A and just try to write it down, the answer. So let's go through number 1 in a second. So pause me now. Let's go through it. First one, to give emphasis and focus to an idea, you can use the phrase what I verb or the thing I verb at the beginning. That's right. The thing you want to emphasize comes at the end of the sentence. And use the verb be or have to link the two parts in the sentence. Be. So they use is when they say what I remember, and they say was when they say the thing I liked. So you can see the form of those. Now, I want you to go back to page 118. And I want you just to read through again one more time and just highlight the example that they use like this in the book. So if they say what I remember or the thing I liked, just highlight it in the textbook. So pause me now. And let's go through it. So the thing I love about this photo is that it brings back all those bright summer days. So he's remembering the summer days, the wonderful time. What I love about this photo is that it reminds me of our special relationship. So she's talking about her wonderful time with her grandmother. So you can see. So two examples, Gary and Sonia, using emphasis. What I'd like you to do is to do part C. And part C is rewrite the sentences. So they give you two sentences and we want to combine them together. So they said, for example, I really liked the sunroof in my family's old car. The thing I really liked about my family's old car was the sunroof. So you can see they've combined them together using the grammar that we have before, what I remember and the thing I liked, to make the sentence. So what I'd like you to do is look at the sentences and try to write them like they have done before in the examples above, okay, in the grammar part. So pause me now. Just write those sentences. You got it. Today's easy. Let's go. Number 2. The thing I loved most or more than anything as a child was mangoes. What I miss most of all is cooking with my grandma. What I remember most clearly from my childhood is riding on trains. The thing I really loved as a teenager was skateboarding. So hopefully you followed the examples and you did it just like that, giving emphasis points. So hopefully, super easy. Let's go, go, go. Now, because we're talking about the past, I want you to just spend a couple of minutes thinking about things that have happened in your life. Now, today's class, we start with the past, we look at things that we're scared about, and we're going to go on to the future at the end. So this is today's class. What can you remember about the past? Now, my questions above me, ding, 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 they are all scrambled. The order is wrong. So what I would like you to do on your worksheet is unscramble the question. You can see here. So what I would like you to do is write them down here and then just put your answer underneath. But to begin with, unscramble the question. Now I want you to spend 3 minutes, 4 minutes unscrambling the sentence, and then you can write down your answer for me. So pause me now, and then I'll go through the answers to make sure you have the questions right. So pause it now. And the answers are here. What was the best thing about high school? Hopefully you can find something. What was the worst thing you've ever eaten? What are you missing the most from your childhood? Maybe you miss a computer game. Maybe you miss something. Which food can you always remember from when you were younger? So think about maybe family meal or something like this, like what can you remember from that time? Which song has been stuck in your mind or makes you think of a time from before? So my memory's okay. I remember being in university and remembering a song. The song is before my time. It's a really old song, but it just stuck in my mind and it makes me remember that time. And it's also the same for my mum, because my mum would call me and be like, hey Fraser, what are you doing? And that song was in the background, so she can remember that. Next one. What was the best advice ever given to you, and from who? So any advice, something that somebody said to you, like always be positive, like don't be shy. We all make mistakes. Don't worry if you make a mistake, it happens. Just the start, the new beginning that you make for yourself is most important. So that's my advice for you. Okay, don't worry. Just try your best. The next one, what do you look back on fondly? Fondly means happily, like in a good way. So what do you look back on, think about, like in a good way? Have you ever met an elementary school friend and they didn't remember you? Yes, that's all I could say. So sometimes it happens. In the West, we usually don't remember our elementary school friends well. In Korea, I know that you still keep in touch a lot of people, so it's quite good. But in the West, it's a little bit different. High school, sure. University, sure. But other people, maybe not so. So, write your answers down on your worksheet. And then let's move along. To make today's class a bit varied and different, I've put some of the words that I used in today's class into a word search. So for 2 minutes, I would like you to bam, find the words in the worksheet. So you'd be like, oh, look, Fraser, here's the word on my worksheet. Wow. Bam. Dugv. Oh, yeah. But dugv is not here. So I want you to try to find the words. Just spend 5 minutes. All the words are there. So you should be okay. Now you can't see it at all. It's magic. So don't worry. Just make sure that you have it there. It's all perfectly okay. So try to find the words bring, back, look, recall, recognize, remind, vivid, clear, vague, and distant. Just for 5 minutes maximum time. 4 minutes should be enough. You can go up or down, left or right, any direction you can find it. Just make sure you've written down the meanings of the words if you don't know them. So just write them down, make sure you understand the meanings, what they mean. Because I've used these words that come from page 120. So the idea is I've used some of them so that you can already understand the reading. Now you can listen to it and then read it, or you can just read it. But I will put the MP3 file in there so that you can do both. But the idea is listen to page 120. Complete the sentences about the story. So in B, there's 3 sentences and you just have to answer them. So the first one, it says Nolan and David, and then the blah blah blah. Nolan and David recall their time together, and then Dr. Rivas compares recalling distant memories to something. So what I'd like you to do is read it, listen to it, read it, whichever way, and then answer the question. So pause me. Let's go through it. The first one, lost contact. They weren't friends, sad story. They remember things differently, which happens a lot of the time. And the last one is making copies of copies. Many times people don't remember things exactly perfectly the same. They have a little different, and then when they copy it again, it becomes corrupted and changes a little more, and then a little more, and then a little more. And that's how we remember things. So they have different ways that they remember. Now, the bold words, or the words at the bottom that are in the text in that story, some of those words are adjectives. Some of those words are verbs. And some of them have opposites. So the adjectives, which ones are opposites? And then some of them are synonyms. Now, synonym means a word that is different but has the same meaning. So what I would like you to try to do is to read it again one more time, and then just on your worksheet, there is a small blank on your paper. Just try to put the words here and write down which ones are adjectives, which ones are verbs, the words that are adjectives, which ones are opposites, and then which ones are synonym. Now remember, I want you to write down the verbs, the synonym for the verbs. All the verbs that we use in this text have a synonym. What is another word for those? So pause me now. Write down the answer. So adjectives, clear, childhood. It's technically a noun, but they've used it as an adjective in this text, like, to talk about childhood memories, describing it. Distant, early, long-term, recent, short-term, vague, and vivid. Verbs, bring back, look back on, recall, recognize, remind of. As you can see, these words have been in our word search, so we've pre-learned some of them hopefully. Opposites, vivid or clear with vague. Early or distant with recent. Now, early means a long time ago, like early this morning, like a long time ago, not soon. So early and distant is a long time ago. Recent is now. Long-term opposite is short-term. Now, all of those verbs have a synonym. What is another word with the same meaning? Remember is the correct answer. So hopefully you got that answer down. Now let's check out the next one. Page 124 is talking about man's, woman's, humans, everyone's best friend. And people say man's best friend, but these days, we should be inclusive of everybody, because dogs love everybody, and I love dogs too. I'd like you to look at the pictures. A and B, what are they doing? C and D, what are they doing? That's right, so A and B, they are called service dogs. That means they are working for their job, helping blind people, and A, like helping the fire service. C and D, they're just pets, dressing them up and doing a competition, showing their dogs like this. So I'd like you to listen to the recording, and I would like you to think about which dogs do Keenan and Lucia mention. So when you listen to it, some of them will mention A and B, and some of them will mention C or D. The next part, what do they say? Is it positive or negative? So I'll upload the recording, just listen to it, and then answer the question. So pause me now. Keenan mentions dogs like those in C and D, pets, and his opinion is negative. Whereas Lucia, she mentions the dogs in A and V, and her opinion is positive, because, working dogs are good things, good dogs, they do things in a good way. Now, part C is talking about the language that they use to support their arguments. Now, when we want to introduce examples, we use some phrases. So I want you to listen to it one more time and try to pick out words that they use when they make a list to give their examples. So, for instance, well, that's number one answer. So if you look at C, you can see number one, it says, for instance. This is how they introduce their examples. So I'd like you to look at the book. You can see there's 6 examples. We have one of them. So listen one more time and try to hear how they introduce an example. So pause it, listen. And the second one, for many reasons. 3. First, second, another reason is when they listed it. For example, a good one. 3 important ways. 1, 2, 3. You list them. Number 6, like. To be honest, like is used a lot of times in common, like spoken English, and we use it as a filler, like, and then it means you're thinking about something. So we use it to list examples, to give, examples that we use, but we also use it a lot for especially young people in California, but young people in general, when they want to describe something. So they'll be talking about something, and then they'll be like, you remember this, like you do this. So we do use it as a filler for when we're trying to think of things to say. Let's check it out. The final part from the textbook this semester is going to be page 125. Do you agree or disagree with something? Now, in the text, I want you to read the student's summary of Lucia's side of the debate and his response. Does he agree or disagree with Lucia's argument? So read the text on page 125 and then try to write down whether they agree or disagree with Lucia. So pause it. Let's go on. Let's do the answers. You ready? So the first one, do they agree or disagree? The writer disagrees with Lucia's argument. It's not a good argument. There are lots of other ways to teach children. So she talks about the argument. You've been through it. It's all okay. Hopefully everything is perfect. So you can do that one. Now, when you read the text, I want you to identify and circle the words used to contrast. So if you're contrasting something, you're saying the opposite of something. So you're giving one example and then you're saying the difference to that. So when we contrast, we use some kinds of words. If you're my peace class or your Changzhou, you'll need to use these. So make sure that you know about contrasting words. So read it one more time and then just fill in, the circles, write the words that fit there. So pause me now. Boo! And we're ready. Let's go through. So they use while, despite the fact that, however, although that is true, So these words are all used to describe it. So you'd be like, oh, well, Fraser is great. Scott's the best. Despite the fact that Fraser has no jokes, he's a nice guy. So you can see here, we're saying like something good about something, and then we're saying the contrasting point. Now, I want you to look at B, and I want you to try to put the sentence, combine them together to show, how there's a good point and a bad point. So dogs are cute. They should not be kept as pets. So we have something that's saying that's good, and then we're saying something bad, like the opposite. So I want you to put it together, contrast it. So pause me now. You can use any of those phrases that are above me. So you've done it. While dogs are cute, they should not be kept as pets. Although dogs are cute, they should not be kept as pets. Like that. Number 2. Most dogs are predictable and friendly. Some dogs are unpredictable and dangerous. So pause me now. Let's go through it. Are you ready? Despite the fact that some dogs are predictable and friendly, some are unpredictable and dangerous. Some dogs are predictable and friendly, however, some are unpredictable and dangerous. So as you can see, those are the answers. Now we're at time for a break. So as you can see above me, turn up the beat. Yeah, we're all good for this one. So it's all party time here. So turn up the beat, take a short break, go get a drink or something, and then come back, and then we can finish it off. But that is it for the textbook. So if you're finished with the textbook, throw it away. No, you need it for the final exam and your speaking test. So don't throw it away. Just keep it over here. It's okay, all right? So it's time to move on. So let's take a break. Okay, everybody, and welcome back. Now the final part of class is all about what are you scared of? Because these days there's a lot of fear in the world. People are worried about things. So I want to just give us all a little bit of perspective about things. Because people are scared of a lot of things. And I have 3 questions for you. And I have 2 questions for you. First of all, what is a phobia? And then number 2, what is a symptom? Can you list a few? Now, on your worksheet, you can see here it says, what is a phobia? What is a symptom? This is all about scary things. I want to teach you some other things that are not just from the textbook. So what is a phobia? What is a symptom? Try to write those in first. After that, you need to try to match the definition. But first of all, what is a phobia? What is a symptom? So pause me now. Let's go through them. Phobia, you can see she's thinking, she looks very worried. You can see there's pictures of things. Some things are scary, some things look normal. But, no, scare. I should warn everybody, scary. No, not so scary for me, but maybe for some, scary orc. Stress. Alright, what is a phobia? A phobia is an irrational fear of something. So when you have a phobia, that's right, you're scared, sometimes with a reason, sometimes with there's no reason. And irrational means there's really no reason. But when you saw that picture of that spider, you were scared, I was scared. You know, like, I'm like, wow, terrible. So sometimes there's a fear of something, that's our phobia. When you have a phobia, how do you feel? This was the second question. We have many symptoms. Symptom is a physical or mental feature that is regarded as indicating a condition of a disease. Now these days a lot of people are worried about catching virus or some problem and going to work and having these kind of things. So many people had like fear, like scared of something. And usual symptoms are heartbeat fast, you feel nauseous. English word nauseous means to feel sick. Sweating a lot. You become scared. You shake, like hands are trembling, like sometimes people shiver. Now shiver, it's hard for me to do because the camera's small, but you're like, oh, it looks like I'm dancing really, like, but it's like your body gets really cold and then you're like, oh, like your body is moving around, not shaking, but like small shakes. That is shivering. You lose your appetite. Oh, why do you lose an appetite? Well, that's because you want to fight or flight. Your stomach, blood goes away from your stomach and goes to your muscles. So when you see something scary, you have two responses. You get ready to fight it or you get ready to run away. In English, fight or flight. You can feel very hot or cold. You can find it hard to breathe. And some people just can't move because they're so scared, like terrified, like, oh my God, what should I do? So when you're scared, you have these kind of symptoms, and especially with your phobias. On your worksheet, you can see there's a list. And I want us to try to match them together. Now, there's hydrophobia, there's brontophobia, aerophobia, arachnophobia, cynophobia, ecmophobia, ophidiophobia, claustrophobia, acrophobia, and lachanophobia. I just want you to match them together. So, pause me now. And let's go through the answers. Number one, arachnophobia, spiders. Acrophobia is being scared of heights. Brontophobia, lightning. Aerophobia, it's not a real picture, but being scared of flying. Cynophobia, being scared of dogs. Ecmophobia, needle. So going to the doctor for a needle, for a shot, that is ecmophobia. You're scared, you won't go. Ophidiophobia, being scared of snakes. Lachanophobia, vegetable. Who's scared of vegetables? Vegetables are okay, right? And the last one's claustrophobia is a small space. Hydrophobia is water. Now, I have a bit of hydrophobia in the sea because when I went to Australia for working holiday visa, I saw a shark and I was swimming and I didn't know what kind of shark it is, and I was maybe 200 meters away from the coast, like from the beach, and I saw a shark and I won't say bad words, but yes, I did. So I was really scared. So after that time, I couldn't do anything in water, and still today I'm scared of, maybe a fish or something. I found out later that it was a reef shark, and a reef shark is not gonna attack me unless I do something crazy, but I didn't know at that time, and I was really, really scared. I don't want to say bad words, but yeah, I was really scared at that time. Now, on your worksheet, it asks you, what are you scared of? And I just want you to say what you are afraid of. And you can make a list. Just something that makes you feel anxious or nervous. Anything is okay. But just remember, when you write down the 3 things, if you're scared of dogs, then write down cyneophobia. But if you're just scared of another thing, if you can find the name in the dictionary, you can do that. But if you can't find it, don't worry, don't stress about that part, okay? So, pause me now, just write your answer. Now, just so you know, people generally have phobias because they're learned about something. And it's because we've learned to be afraid because of a traumatic experience, something terrible that happened, trauma that hurt our brains because of something happened. As I said, I had hydrophobia. My mother, because she almost drowned when she was a child. Now, when she's too close to water, she feels really anxious and remembers the bad feelings. I have the same problem when that time, but I've grown to be a bit more brave. And when I went to Boracay, swimming in the sea, no problem. But I still get nervous and anxious sometimes because I just don't know what's there. It's scary. What I'd like you to do for a little bit of fun is to make a phobia. And I want you to choose something, or a person that you could be afraid of. But don't be afraid of me. I'm kind, I hope. I hope you don't feel scared. So I want you to create a name for your phobia. So you put the feared object first, and then you put ophobia afterwards. And then we have a new phobia name. I want you to define the phobia and then give some symptoms of your phobia. Now here's an example. Testophobia. Definition: testophobia is the fear of writing tests, like taking the test. Symptoms: you copy fast, your nervous feeling, nausea, feeling sick, like vomit, and your desire to run out the classroom or the exam place. So on your worksheet, I've made it exactly the same. Just write down the name of the phobia, so the thing you're scared of first, then phobia, and then put it here, put the definition, and then just put some of the symptoms that you have with that. So pause me now. The final question that you could see on that worksheet also says, was there anything as a child that you were scared of, but now you aren't? Or are you still scared of something? So for example, maybe you were scared of dogs because one tried to bite you, but now it's okay, you have a pet and you're overcome it. So if you have anything that you can write it down. But if there's something that you're, scared of, you've already told me about your phobia before. So, don't worry, okay? If you have no answer, you can just say, look at my above answer. It's alright. So pause it, write down an answer, just tell me something that you were scared of as a child, but you're not anymore. Okay, and the final part of today's class wants to end on the future. And this is what I hope you remember. We started about reminiscing, looking at the past in today's class, and I would like to finish looking at the future. Now the textbook doesn't really do that, so what I've done is I've given you a little bit of slam poetry. Slam poetry is like rap, and it's like a modern way of doing poetry, and you've probably never studied slam poetry before. Maybe you have, but it's not something common that you do. And I want you to focus on the story, everybody dies, but not everybody lives. And this is supposed to be an inspirational form of poetry by E.A. Prince below me. And he's going to just tell you some poetry and in an interesting way. And I just want you to listen to it. The file is in Google Drive. You can find it on YouTube as well. And on YouTube it's probably got the lyrics, the words to the poetry, so you can find it. Now it's a bit like rap, so it's a little fast, but it's not a rap song. This is about dreams. And at the beginning of the semester, I started with procrastinate. We like to waste time. I want to finish today's and this semester's teaching with looking about the future. So I've told you don't procrastinate, and now I'm on to let's look to the future. So I want to think in a positive way, and I want us to look positively to the future. So let's have a look at the question. The question that I want you to do is to just fill in the blanks by using rhymes and logic. This is poetry, but listening is the best way. But if you think you can do it, because I know some of you are geniuses, then you can. I mean, you can search online and find it too, but the idea is these should work as a rhyme and fit into some of these. So it is not something most people are afraid of. It is getting to the end of life, only to realize you truly lived. So one of these will fit in here. You can try to guess the answer, and then when you listen to it, you can find the real answer. But I'll go through the answers in a second. So listen to it on YouTube with a file. If you go on YouTube, it'll have like the words, so it'll be a bit easier. But listen to it and try to fill it in. So pause me now. Okay, so let's go through it. So let's go through the answers. The first one, death, never, regretted, pursue. So as you can see, pursue, do, it's rhyming. Courage, picked, afraid, doubt, fired, depression, advice, twice, in the gift of life. So you can see some of them rhyme and it's easy to fill in. And the last one, so grab that microphone and be brave. As I always say, don't be shy. Sing your heart out on live stage. Show yourself to everybody. You cannot go back and make a brand new beginning. We don't have time travel yet. But you can start now and make a brand new ending. So he's saying, and hopefully you've understood the message, that even if we've made mistakes in our past, even if we've been scared of something, we can start now to be positive and live our life and see it and do as much as we can. So that's the message that I want you to understand, is our lives are a chance for a new beginning every day. We can start over and do something new. We did something wrong yesterday, move on, start positive, be positive, bring a positive message to the world. Everybody, whatever I say or you say to people can affect them in a big way. So my mom always told me to be nice to everybody, so I try to be kind and nice to everyone. And hopefully I do that, and I'm always positive and try to be positive for everybody. So your positiveness can affect somebody else. So start now, make a new ending for your life. Don't just sit and wait, don't procrastinate. Let's be positive and have a great future. Just like, it was hard this semester, we're going to make it even better next time. Now, I've made a few questions that you can use, and they are on your worksheet. So after you've filled in the blanks here, you can see there's just a couple of questions. I've given a bit extra work today to make it to the 50 minutes that the university time should be. So just remember, have you ever regretted doing something in your life? Yes, no, write it down. Have you ever regretted not doing something? Tell us about it. Just tell me. Maybe, for example, you didn't tell somebody you love them, and that was your mistake. Same for me. I should have said I love you to somebody, but I didn't, so. Next one. What are you fearing about in the future? What are you fearing? What's going on? Like, is there something you're worried about? Is it something you should be worried about? A lot of times we have phobias and fears, and it's irrational. We can overcome it. I'm nervous about public speaking. Just practice. We have to practice. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Get used to it. Did you wish you had made any other changes when it came to your university studying life? So do you think you've studied hard in online classes? Do you think it's going well? Just that kind of thing. If you could describe your life as a song, what kind of song would it be? So is your life like a love song because you've got a boyfriend or girlfriend? Is your song like emo, like depressed song because you broke up with your girlfriend or boyfriend recently? Everything's about love in my life, right? When I say it like this. Maybe yours is EDM, like happy, like dance music, because your life's a party and you're always doing something fun and it's really exciting. And next one, who would you get to sing it and why? So you'd be like, Park Hyo-shin, because his voice is so wonderful. Or you'd be like, BTS, because, my life is like Rap Monster. Next one, what current dream do you have for 2020? So obviously, 2020 has been very strange with the way that it's been this semester. But you should always try to reevaluate and make new goals for yourself. So I know some people make like 3 goals to do every day, and they try to check it off. So do you have any dreams or goals for this semester, this week? Maybe to get A+ in every class, like that? What really inspires you and ignites you to succeed? What is the driving force for you to do something amazing? Maybe you have a person, a family member, something. Just try to write down what inspires you to do something to succeed at the moment. So pause me now, and let's go. And that's it, everyone. We're gonna finish. We're all excited. Yeah, it's time. So everybody, you did a great job today. You've all studied hard. Remember, if you're doing your speaking test, you don't need to do this work this week, but you need to do it the next week. So I'm gonna give you 2 weeks to submit this paper. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, yeah. So you have 2 weeks to fill in this paper. Submit it to eClass. That is for all of my RC classes. Your speaking test, you have to do your worksheet anyway, because, you know, as I said, it's 20% for your score. But for this class, you just submit your worksheet. And I've tried to make it 50 minutes long. Hopefully we're okay. So don't worry too much. Just try your best, everyone. You've all done a great job this semester, and I'm super happy. So just remember, try your best. I have review class next week. And remember, I love you all. Everybody, take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.